Woman with Parasol, or The Stroll, by Claude Monet. We're looking at the painting Woman with Parasol, or The Stroll, by Claude Monet in 1875. Claude Monet was a French Impressionist painter. He's one of the founders and is credited with ushering in the Impressionist movement in the 1870s. Impressionists came along during the time French artists were more traditional. The earlier subject matter for artists entailed historical subjects, religious themes, and portraits. En plein air, 19th century style of painting outdoors. French Impressionists enjoyed painting in the open air of a natural backdrop. Painting in the direct sunlight cast a different tone to the paint on the canvas. With natural light and the elements, the artist is a guest at the table for whatever Mother Nature may be serving in the moment. The Stroll is an oil painting of Claude Monet's wife, Camille, and their son, Jean. It sits in the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. Elements. Looking at the elements of the painting, it's a sunny day. Perhaps spring, maybe not quite. The sun shines on her body from the right. You see hints of sunlight along the right front of her skirt, as well as her back. As she walks towards the left of the frame, you can see that Jean is facing towards us, as the sun shines on the back of his hat and hints over his shoulders. Shadow casting. Madame Monet's shadow is long and to the left of her, which suggests that it's mid-morning. This depiction of light and dark cast in a shadow is a classic part of the Impression era, as it accentuates the passage of time. Movement. It also appears to be very windy. The wind sweeps along the right side of the frame of the painting. We can see this because of the way her veil is swept across the right side of her face, separating tendrils of her hair and blowing her veil just above and below her eyes. The drapery of her skirt dances in the wind, billowing around her legs, lifting the tail of her skirt just enough to see beneath the layers. The flowers of the meadow also seem to dance about, almost as if to bow down as she walks by. She's the queen of the meadow, and her parasol, the scepter. Impressionists don't use a heavy brush. We can see this in the feather-light touches, small and thin strokes throughout the painting. Notice the wisps in the clouds, Madame Monet's veil, blades of grass, and the heads of the flowers. The varying hues and blending of colors. The varying hues of blue, from light, almost cornflower blue, to not quite dark, cobalt blue, flow from the farthest, lowest portion of the sky to the heavens. These blues are also seen in Jean's shirt coat, as well as in Madame Monet's blue scarf around her neck and skirt. Colors blending in concert. The colors in the heavens are in quiet complement to the green in her parasol. When following down its shaft, one's eyes move slowly down towards the meadow below. Varying upswept color of different shades of green, dark and light, they move from the grass and stems of flowers. Yellow and white, hooded possibly daffodils, are in contrast with red tones below. These tones are also seen in the band around Jean's hat. Seamless symmetry of color. Mrs. Monet is clearly the central figure of this painting. Your eyes are drawn to her. Everything is perfectly framed, but not framed at all. She and Jean look as if they could melt into the colors of the day. They and the blending of the blues and whites of the sky are in perfect harmony with the dancing of the wind. It's seamless. There are only a few bold touches I notice. The inside of the parasol, the line of the shaft, and the outline of her undergarments. Flesh tones. The differing flesh tones are seen in the two faces. Madame Monet is a darker tone. Possibly the veil shades her face from the sun, while Jean's face has a more pinkish hue. We're drawn to the rosiness of his cheeks and lips, either from the day being a bit chilly or his running ahead of her. Three-dimensional placement. If you draw a line from the bottom of her sleeve, angled to the left of the frame, it will just touch the tip of Jean's hat. We can see the three-dimensional aspects the artist uses to show depth. Madame Monet's shadow is in the foreground. She is placed very large in the center, and Jean off to the 2 o'clock of her body position. We only see Jean from the top of his head to the bottom of his torso. If we were to bring him forward to stand beside her, he would probably come just about to her sleeve. This would make him around 7 years old. A candid moment. Both Madame Monet and Jean look surprised. Taking only 1 day to paint this family outing, he signed it Claude Monet, 75, in the lower right corner. The art of a movement. Being forward thinkers, the Impressionists could not be confined to 4 walls. They saw the world as their studio, as well as the subject. It was a happenstance that the term Impressionist came out in the first place. Coined from Monet's work Impression Soleil Levant, Impression Sunrise, a derogatory slur toward those who dared to be different. How ironic, young artists, Claude Monet among them, daring to break out of the classic mold that left an impression to last a lifetime.